Hello everyone, and now welcome to game number 2 between Remind and Lucifer. Lucifer spawning as the gray undead on the bottom right hand side of the map. Excuse me, Lucifer spawning as the gray undead on the bottom right hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Remind spawning as the red night elf on the top left. Gonna go ahead and speed things up into the 4 times speed as things are just going to open up very similar to in game number 1. Opening buildings and opening strategies don't vary all that much, as everyone really wants to try and get down that Altar of Darkness, and their first building. Really where things start to deviate is when you start creeping, whether or not you're going to tech. Your timing on your second ziggurat or second building is all extremely important. Remind currently clearing out this Ancient of War, with this Ancient of War, this 5-3-3 creep camp. Ogre Magi taking a bit of damage, and the Demon Hunter will be coming around that corner and be able to shut down that Ogre Magi here in just a moment. Alright, getting in some easy damage there. Ogre Magi gonna get taken out, picking up Claws of Attack +6, very, very useful item. Demon Hunter, on the other hand, already sold his Scroll of Town Portal, picking up the Rod of Necromancy and the Dust of Appearance. Now, will Lucifer be able to do a little bit better here in game number 2? He is trailing 1-0 in this series, as it looks as though he is opting to try and do a bit more harassment. Now the Death Knight could attempt to come inside the space here and actually commit his Death Knight into the harassment, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Alright, Death Knight almost gets the final shot off there, as we see a little bit of damage being absorbed by that archer. This is actually one of the situations that you want to avoid as a Night Elf player. You do not want your archer to be the one taking the damage. The reason being is it has no armor, and in fact 0 armor, and in fact on top of that it is medium based armor, meaning that the skeletal minions will actually be dealing more damage per swipe. And if you do have to start drinking from those moonwells, that means less for the Demon Hunter later. Demon Hunter now bringing back more skeletal minions, may try and engage again, but Remind has the lead, as we are going to be going into a little bit of a run here again. Skeletal minion getting shot down there, as Remind now getting in some damage onto some of these units again. Alright, this is not looking good for Lucifer, but let's take a look inside his base, and I don't see, where are all of his ghouls? His ghouls are off over here. Could not really see them surrounded by this one Ogre Magi there. Circuit of Nobility has been dropped. Ghoul, wow, that Ghoul looks like it would have been taken down here in just a moment. Yes, there it goes, as the Demon Hunter going to be picking up a Circuit of Nobility, that Tome of Agility, and most likely getting to level 2. Right there, getting that level 2 at 211 experience. Going up against the Demon Hunter, who also now has Boots of Speed. Death Knight bringing over a whole bunch of skeletal minions and ghouls inside the Night Elf base. This is one of the things that a lot of Night Elf players really don't know how to deal with early on. The lack of archers because of the early Ancient of War creeping means less production time on the building. Death Knight, however, needs to be very careful. He doesn't want to give or take damage without at least dealing some onto his army. Alright, that one skeletal minion already down to 16 hit points. It's just going to give even more experience once again, as a ghoul gets caught on the wrong side once more, trying to run away. That one ghoul down to 23 hit points. There's the death coil though to save that ghoul, now down to 132 hit points, and once it is back on Blight though, its regeneration will be so high that it is going to be extremely difficult to take out. Alright, Unholy Aura, but because of the Boots of Speed on that Demon Hunter, the ghouls and the Death Knight cannot initiate a surround, as we now see a panda coming in from Remind. Remind with that panda may be able to blow over this entire army in just a moment, as the Death Knight now opts to retreat. Death Knight now looking to back off once again. Panda is in position. Demon Hunter is in position. Both of those are in the front court, ready to engage against all of those ghouls, with the archers bringing up the rear. Supply count 29 over 50 compared to 28 over 40. We are still pretty much neck and neck at this stage, as the ghouls may try to get some easy damage, and yes, there it goes, but we do see the detonation first. Alright, Ancient of War taking a fair bit of damage here. This is actually very bad news, as the continuing chasing creeps will finish off or at least deal some damage to those remaining units. Death Knight now going after that Null Warden, gets the easy kill there. Now are we going to see perhaps a quick turnaround as the Null Overseer now making its way back over. Demon Hunter trying to charge on in. Death Knight is right there. There is another mana burn again, but doesn't matter very much. The Null Overseer will get surrounded and taken down. Claws of Attack +6 picked up by the Death Knight now, and that should end up, yes, given to the Naga Sea Witch here, as we see the Ghoul now trying to escape once more. Demon Hunter now coming across. There is some more cold arrows. Breath of Fire going across the Ghouls. Is this going to be enough? No Staff of Preservation spotted, but there is one Ancient of War absorbing a whole bunch of damage. 39 over 40 supply compared to 36. Remind pretty much out of gold right now. Meanwhile, we see Obsidian statues still being trained, and what seems to be perhaps, nothing else being trained at this point. Death Knight, in addition to the Naga Sea Witch, clearing out this relatively easy creep camp. Tome of Strength +2. Meanwhile, back across the river, so to speak, the Panda is also clearing out with the Demon Hunter at the other Goblin Merchant shop. Alright, Naga Sea Witch gonna help finish off this Null Overseer. It looks like the Null Overseer will get taken down. There it goes. Wand of Illusion has been dropped. A consumable item, but not altogether that great and that necessary, as the illusion now makes its way off to the north. Death Knight ready to go, going after all of these units here. Meanwhile, let's take a look at that. I wonder if it has faster movement speed. Nope. Well, it is actually slowed right now as the Death Knight now looking to finish off this 3-1-1 creep camp, and it has done exactly that. Now, as the Panda continues to grow, if that Panda does get to level 3, and if Lucifer is still sitting at Ghouls, those Ghouls will absolutely get melted pretty much in a second. The damage is so high, and the way that cone works out is able to hit so many of those Ghouls so unexpectedly, as the Ghouls are now finishing off the remaining units there. Death Knight now with up to +4 damage, and now going after the Nightcrawlers and that Naga Sea Witch off to the north. Alright, I'm just going to hang up the phone real fast. Alright. Demon Hunter now making its way back down across over here. We can see Wand of Illusion, a little bit of slowness there. Meanwhile, Death Knight and the Naga Sea Witch on its way to the north. We do not see an Orb of Corruption anywhere. We can see that we are at Black Citadel, and I don't see any third hero, but we are getting up to Destroyer form. That is a bit of a risky proposition because of Dryads. Dryads, as you know, are very, very weak. Are very, very strong to that magic damage, but the Destroyers are most likely there for the bears. I take it back. Lich has been part of this army for a little bit of time, and now we're going to see the Ghouls frantically make their way back as well. The Tree of Eternity perhaps going to land right here in just a moment. There you are. Breath of Fire. Death Coil needs to go down on that Ghoul. Nope, not going to be in time, but a Druid of the Claw lost instead. Beautifully done. Ankh of Reincarnation onto the Demon Hunter. You got to be very careful about that. Death Knight now very, very low on mana. Is he going to perhaps get a Death Coil off onto another unit? There is the Destroyer. It is going to devour magic and now go after these units. All right, Breath of Fire going back the other way. Demon Hunter does have a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability, and when you cannot take down the heroes, take down the beefiest units, and that's exactly what we're seeing from Lucifer. Lucifer has taken down 2 very easy, wow, Potion of Lesser Invulnerability used right there. Vampiric Aura as well as Dryads are now falling. Breath of Fire going across. Let's take a look. Bear quickly taken down as we are looking at the Destroyer still going to be in a bit of trouble. All right, he needs to back off. Destroyer down to 97, 87 hit points. It is going to get taken down right there. Demon Hunter at half life. Are we going to perhaps see a quick turnaround once more? Dryads getting destroyed by those Crypt Fiends, but there is no more Destroyers left to really finish off this fight here. All right, continuing this fight. Death Knight, Staff of Preservation saving that Demon Hunter again, but you still have to be very careful. Cold arrows and Druid of the Claw, so much damage dealt. There it goes again. Rejuvenation goes across once more. There's the Devour Magic, and oh my goodness, the Demon Hunter is going to get taken down. That quick transformation into the Destroyer making all the difference there as Lucifer ties up the series at 1 game apiece. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed game 2. Please stay tuned for game number 3.